and in living color. Alright, so we're live. So welcome to O.Y.R Books and Publishing Facebook Live. You have been booked. Welcome. And I'm sure we'll have some persons here with us today watching and taking part in our We Have Been Booked session, talking about the author and what should we do to bring out that author in us. And today we have none other than O.Y.R Books and Publishing team, co-founders of the O.Y.R Books and Publishing team, Leroy Hutchinson, Chief Executive Officer, as you know, and
Monique Bailey Hutchinson, Chief Publishing Officer.
Alright, so we have our CEO and our CPO with us today, running live on Facebook. And go ahead and share. As you jump on, go ahead and share and get going with your questions. I hope you wrote down your questions and everything. Well, let me just dive into some of the plans that we have today. Alright, we have things to discuss and things to talk about as it relates to the publishing world and the world of being an author. And I know a lot of persons want to be authors. You just want to be a part of that group of authors. And because of that, we have decided that we want to help you out with the process today. Alright? So guess what? We're going to dive right into some other things, like what is expected of an author, what is the world of author or being an author is about. And we are depending on Monique to help us in some of those areas and to really strengthen this live this evening. All right, so if you never got a chance to catch the live, then you can always go to O.Y.R Books and Publishing Facebook page and Instagram.
Yes, or you can find it on either Leroy or my YouTube channel, and keep up with us and let us talk about the author in you.
All right, so let's go. So today we definitely want to look at the author in you and some of the reasons why persons decide to write a book, some of the reasons why you decide that you want to share your story. And we do have some books before us, which we will go into later on, right? But for now, we just want to, share some of the reasons why some people want to become an author and how that can help you out as an author. All right. So the first one on the list, I'm gonna allow Anne Monique to dive into that one, or should I take it?
You can take it.
All right. So one of the first reasons. So this is the question: why do people write? All right, and you can type in the chat. Why do people write? Why do people want to become authors, and so on?
Yeah. Why do you want to become an author? Why do you write? You can just keep up with us. Let us know why you write or why you've written your book, journal, whatever it is you're doing as far as it relates to writing. Just let us know in the chat.
All right. So the first reason why people write is to express themselves, right? Many people write because they just want to. That's the only way they can actually share what is on their heart. It's the only way they can. They're not good at talking to people. They're not good at saying what is on their mind to persons. And so because of that, the best way for them to tell what is on their mind is to take up a pen and a book and start to share their feeling, or they can type it, or they can, what else people have, memory pad, different things that you can do to say what is on your heart and what is on your mind and how you want to write and all these things. Right, so guess what? expressing yourself is very, very important if you want to write. So if you are in that group and you feel like, guess what, I have something on my heart and I want to express myself and I want to write and I want to share what is on my mind, you would be classified in this first group, people who are just expressive, people who just want to take up a pen and just, tell their story, right? So I think that's the first category of people who loves the idea of writing. Feel like you want to express yourself? That could just be the first area of you becoming an author. Right? Just want to express yourself. All right.
And I noticed that Kingdom Citizen, Evening Kingdom Citizen, she noted that she writes because she wants people to know that whatever they're going through, they are not alone. She writes because she wants to tell her story, which we will go into later. But some of you may know that Tell Your Story is O.Y.R Books and Publishing's slogan, because we believe that everyone has a story to tell. So we are big on telling your story. All right. And as we indicated earlier, yes, Yannick, some persons write to express themselves and to inspire others. In expressing themselves, they end up inspiring others.
Definitely. All right. So in expressing yourself, you end up doing what? Empowering others, yeah.
And inspiring
and inspiring others
Yes.
as well. Right. So that's my first category on it, and Monique will dive into. So if you're an expressive writer, you can go ahead and share it in the chat and say how you feel about writing in an expressive way. All right. What's the next one now?
You write for creative purposes.
You will take that?
That's me. One side of me. I started writing when I was in primary school. I was about 7 or 9, writing books specifically, because we go through in Jamaica, we write essays and letters and creative writing and stories and short stories all the day of our lives, from basic school all the way up. But either way, I started to write books, fiction books, since I was about 7 or 9 years old. When I say creative writing,
big writer.
Look at yourself. I inspired him to write his first book.
Don't listen to her. Do not listen to her.
But yes, I started writing at 7 or 9 years old, and it wasn't me telling my story then, but it was me expressing myself in a creative way by making up stories based on what I saw around me, based on what was in my imagination, based on so many different set of circumstances. So I created stories based on life itself, based on other person's lives, based on, probably I read a book and I thought the book was incomplete, or I thought a character was not properly developed. So I continued the character's story and created an entire other universe. For example, Marvel Studios has a multiverse going on with you have many different kind of Spider-Man in different universes. You have Superman in universe 1, Superman in universe 2. Well, me, for example, I would read about Nancy Drew, and I felt like that particular novel, that particular number in the series of Nancy Drew books, it did not end the way I wanted to. Maybe I would pick up and continue to write the story and make it better.
It did not end the way you wanted it?
Yes, it's not every book end the way you want it to. So sometimes they're called fan fictions. So those who write fan fictions are often creative writers. They write for creative purposes. They write to create an alternate universe. They write to create an alternate story for themselves even, because for persons who are introverted like myself, sometimes the only way to express yourself is to become a little bit more creative. And the expressive side often comes out in creating another
Side.
another world, and the world would be the written world. You can become anything you want when you start to write or when you start to type. You can,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and that's how the creative side of you gets out there. That's what we talk about when we say persons' right to be creative. Their right to create a world for themselves that they don't have generally. Their right to be wealthy, powerful women in business. They right to create themselves, to recreate themselves, and to
Yes.
be something that maybe in this life or at that time in their life they can't be just yet. And that is me. That's how I ended up writing books from as young as 7 or 9 years old. That's how I ended up starting to publish my books on Wattpad. Before I published my very first book, Paralyzed by Perfection, Made by Mistakes. We'll go into what type of writing this is shortly. But creative writers are often excellent storytellers.
Yes,
Right?
but you can create characters. I mean, you have seen books and movies of characters that you are thinking, how did the writers, thought about these things? Because they allowed themselves to just think. You can't be too careful when it comes to your thoughts. As in, yes, when you're writing,
Yeah.
So you just have to explore your mind. Of course, be responsible, but remove the barriers from around your mind when you are writing and when you want to share something that you believe that will create characters that nobody else could create except you.
Yes.
Right? So that's the second reason
Why
why people write. The first one is they are expressive, and the second one, as Anne Monique outlined, they are creative. The third one
is to tell their story. Kingdom Citizen mentioned that one earlier, and we mentioned earlier that our slogan is tell your story. All right, so
you can take on this one because it has been some other things that you need to explain.
Yes, so in telling, we believe everyone has a story to tell. We believe everyone has something, even one story. We have even one story inside of us that somebody else needs to hear, and hearing that story can change that person's life. As someone indicated earlier, they want, in telling your story, you have an opportunity to remind persons that they are not alone. Life might be hard, but it's not only hard on your side of the world, on your side of the bed. Other persons are also struggling, and when they struggle, that writer, if they overcome, because generally persons don't write the story until them overcome, them write the story and tell them testimony, share them testimony. So upon writing that story now, upon telling their story, they are also able to tell persons that, hey, I went through hell and I came back and I survived it. This is how I survived it. These are the things I went through when I went there, when I went to my low place, went through the valley of the shadow of death and all of those things.
Return.
Okay.
And return.
Yes, I returned, and this is what happened to me there, but this is how I overcame my hell. This is how I overcame my struggles, and that is why we believe that it's important that persons tell their stories. Not just because you want to write a book, but because there are persons who are waiting to hear that story.
Yeah, that is true.
Some persons' deliverance will come because they were able to read your story and they are able to say, if Kingdom Citizen went through this, if Yannick went through this and she survived, maybe I can survive too. Maybe I can go through it. Maybe I can learn something from it. Maybe I can pull that lesson that Yannick and Kingdom sit. Maybe I can learn from the struggles that she went through, and maybe I can become a better version of myself. So that's why we believe it's important. We can't be selfish with our stories, right? We're not going to tell every single bit of the story. We have to keep some mystery about it, you know?
And that's the part as publishers,
Yes.
where we have to kind of draw the line when it comes to some persons who have a desire to tell it all kind of thing. And Harmony can go into that, especially the legal side of that. But I want to say that we all have a story to tell. Your life is like a story. Every minute,
yes,
every moment, every time. I mean, everything that you are living now is a story that you can tell. You know, when I was writing Purpose Has No Shame, right? It's not really a tell-it-all kind of book, but I shared a few stories in it. And when I sent off the manuscript to the editor at the time and the publisher, I guess chapter 8 started a certain way. Chapter 8, I think I had in chapter 8 or chapter 9, yeah, something's got to give, but that's not how it started, you know. I had another topic for it, but then Paris and I were having a conversation about.
Paris is his little daughter.
Yes. So Paris and I were having a conversation about she wanting to spend more time, and she never wanted to put aside her tablet, but she wanted me to put aside my phone. So I said to her, all right, you put aside your tablet for a day, and I put aside my phone for a day, and let's just spend time with each other. And she cried out, no, Daddy, no, can't do that. And I stopped. I was in the kitchen. I stopped and I said, you know what? I need to change chapter 9, you know, and I call it Something's Got to Give, you know. And I called the editor, and immediately I rushed back to the laptop and started to type and everything. And I sent that off to him and told him, this is what you should start chapter 9 with. So I'm just saying that to say, our lives are like stories. You want something to write about? Look in your life. And if you believe you have a positive story, because sometimes, yeah, creativity is good. I'm not taking over Anmonique point now, but creativity is good and expressive side is good. But sometimes you have a story, you have a book, you have 10, 15, 20 chapters waiting to be written, waiting to be published, and you are scratching your head looking at other people's book and other people's bestseller, thinking, how can I get words to write? When can I find the right things to write about? When all you need to do is to just look at your own life, see some of the success stories that you may have had in your past, and you can just write it. All right. So that is all you would need to do, and at the same time, you just need to understand that telling your story is all about having your side of the story. All right, see? So your side of the story, that's fine. Your side of the story is very, 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 very important as we tell our story. All right? So, as I was saying, let's look at some of the issues now in writing your own story.
Oh, all right. In writing your own story, we have to be careful that we don't tell other person's story in our story, especially if there can be legal ramifications, right? Say, for example, let me use an example. Say, for example, you were assaulted. You were assaulted by an individual, sexually assaulted by an individual, but that person, you never reported the crime, and that person was never arrested. So the police has no knowledge that this had happened. Nobody knows about it except for the victim and the offender, right? you don't want to go in telling your story and name the person in your story. You don't want the world, you want the world to know your story now, but you don't want to go then and say, this person sexually assaulted me. And this is where this happened. This is when this happened. And this is where the person lives. And this is all of these things. You know, you have to be mindful in telling your story that you don't defame other persons, or you don't cause other person. It's the same thing. You don't in any way cause other person's character, or persons to think of persons outside of their character. You can report the offense if it was, for example, if they were convicted of an offense, then all right, you can talk about it. But if they were not convicted of the offense, then you have to be mindful in telling that person's story when telling your story. So you can tell your side of the story, but be careful not to name persons. Be careful not to say certain things about persons that might cause you problem in the long run, because as publishers, we will do all we can to protect the company, and we'll also do all we can to protect you, and we want you to tell your story, but we have to always be mindful that in telling our stories, we do not cause offense to other persons. If you want to express the hurt and the pain that this kind of situation or may cause you, it's fine, it's good, but make sure you report it to the authority. Make sure that that person has been convicted. And remember, I'm speaking specifically about, for example, a sexual offense committed against you, the writer. Make sure that person has been convicted, has been found guilty in the court of law. Because once that has been done, then you're all right, you know. But you can't, unless the person has been found guilty, you cannot say that person is at that, or is at that. Because as far as the law is concerned, you are innocent until proven guilty. So we have to be mindful when sharing our story that we toe the line carefully, because we don't want to be offenders. When what we're trying to do is to bless other persons, is to share our story so that other persons can hear it, and so that it can make a difference in the lives of other persons.
All right, and that is why I allowed her to speak. She's the legal advisor. She's the attorney in the company and everything as well. So sometimes, you know, persons want their books to be published, and they would say, what next? What should we do? And I often say to them, you're going to get a contract. Now, in that contract, we will explain all of this. So we won't be able to publish a book if the book is saying that somebody did something that they weren't convicted of. And it's in your book. And guess what? O.Y.R Books and Publishing would have been the publisher for that book, for example, if we don't realize it. And so during the editing stage or stages, and we pick up things like that, we're able to say to the author, it's best to rephrase, it's best not to say that, because this person has not been convicted of the action, right? So the editors would pass it on to our chief publishing officer, and then she would be able to explain that side of it. So please, in writing your book, you might have it in your book, you know, the different things that happen to you, but bear in mind, the right way to do it is that when it gets to the publisher, we're able to say, you know, maybe you should rephrase this, maybe you should do that. It's not that we don't want your book to sound the way you want it to sound, but when it gets out there, there's no coming back. Family members of the individual would have seen it. Your family members would have seen it.
Yeah.
All kind of people are going to see it. And then guess what? That person can sue you. What do you call it again?
For defamation.
Defamation, all right? Yes, of character, yes. So, and then guess what? They can pull us as the publisher in it to an extent.
Yeah, they can. So we have to make sure that the contract, whatever contract our authors sign, that is made clear to the authors, and we also, you know, try and separate the company from any sort of liability in that regard, and we try to protect you as well from any sort of liability in that regard, right? So we'll talk about that. So when we're telling our story, be mindful that it is your story that you're telling, and when you're telling it, you can tell it as much as you want, within the within the limits of the law. All right?
All right. So you have a lot of things to tell, but be careful how you tell it.
Yes. And in telling your story too, remember, you don't want everybody in your business at the same time.
Don't let out things where you don't want nobody find out.
Yeah, if you don't want them to know, don't tell them when you're writing your book. If you don't want them to know certain things, find a way to write it, to put it that there is still some mystery after the person reads your book and after they see what your experience was. They are still able to say, I would still want to talk to Kingdom Citizen. I still want to talk to Grace and Grace Daniels. And I still want to say, I want to know more about her. You don't tell the story so much that you tell everything, that there is nothing left to tell, that there's no sense even doing an interview to find out where did this begin. Tell me some more about it. You have to tell it in such a way that your trial is shared, the journey through the trial is shared, the victory report is shared, but in the midst of all of that, there is still some mystery. There is still something that you're holding close to the chest. So if you do get an interview, either in the written media or over the radio or on TV, you can still come up with something that is not already dished out in the book, right? So when we tell our story, we tell it so we can make a difference, but we also tell it responsibly so that not everybody knows the very last thing you ate this morning and the first thing you will eat tomorrow morning. All right?
All right. So we looked at how many ways? 3 things so far. 1, 2, 3.
Express yourself, to create, to be creative, and to tell your story.
So you can decide what kind of author you are, what kind of author you want to be. Remember, now, this is the You Are Booked session with O.Y.R Books and Publishing. Go ahead and share the link. Let other people come on and hear what is happening. Share the link. And let people know. All right. So the next one that we have is you feel like you are one of those authors who, for educational purposes, you want to write. So you're a teacher, right? You love math, you love English, or you study a certain thing, or like me, Purpose Has No Shame, and it's a book that I teach. Seminars on purpose living. I also have another book, for example, The Youth Leader in You. And then what I did with that book was to have manuals, right? So I have a training guide, a facilitator's guide, and a participant's guide, for example, because I want to use the book to educate people. I want to use it at a theological seminary, or I want to train leaders. I want persons to do a course in youth leadership, a course in purpose living, and so on. So, and you have all of those books where people write because they want to educate people. So that's another way of writing a book. You have a principle, you have an art in a certain area, and you want to empower people and show them the art of doing the thing. Right? So you can also look at writing. Yeah, you're not as creative as you want, like Anne Monique, or you are not as expressive like some people. But guess what?
And you don't want to tell anybody your
And you don't
story.
want to tell nobody your story because you're very secretive and private. You can still become an author. You can write an educational book, right? You can write a children's book. You can write a math book, English, whatever it is.
Or
look at that. So this is Carla Dunbar's sex scription, right? So so for those who don't know Carla Dunbar, Carla is the person who they call the sex pastor. She's a sex therapist. And she came on TV many times, multiple times. Carla would have to tell me how many times. But for example, this book is an educational book, right? So that's what we're talking about. So you have a lot of different books that, for example, that you can use. I'm sure Valentine Rodney has this one. He has a course on it as well, The Power of the Secret Place. And I think he has a course on it as well. So that's what we're talking about. If you can produce a book that will educate people and you can create a course out of it that is another way to write a book or another reason to write a book. You understand? You don't have to fall out of the author zone. You can still become an author by writing something that can educate people. I think this is my line of writing as well. And Monique is as she said, the
expressive and the creative
expressive
author.
and creative author. She does
and I tell a little bit of story in there too. I am multifaceted. He sticks to his niche, which is educational books.
Yeah, I don't really write the tell it all thing, you understand?
Neither do I.
Yeah. Right. I don't really. Right. And at the same time, I mean I love fiction. Well, I don't know if I love fiction books. I like real story. Either philosophy on leadership or your philosophy or principles to leadership. For example, I love this John Maxwell, 15 invaluable laws of growth, and books like that, developing the leader in you. I've been reading this one called Tribes by Seth Godin, talking about we need you to lead us and how young people coming up with tribes and all that. So that's the kind of author that I am, and that's the kind of reader that I am. One thing I also need to say, if you want to be a good author, you have to be an avid reader.
Yes.
You have to read. When you read a lot, it helps you to write in the writer's tone, the author's tone. You know how to build on a story. For example, I mean that's for another session. But I just want to say that if you consider yourself as an author, you want to write, pick up a book and read. Don't go plagiarize now.
Yeah, don't regurgitate what you read. But read to open your mind to another world.
Yes.
Reading can take you to places you've never been and might never be able to physically go to. And in going to those places in a book, it will help you to take your readers to places that they may never go to as well when you are writing for educational purposes, storytelling purposes, expressive or creative purposes.
Definitely. You look at the books like Harry Potter, for example, Harry Potter, and you tend to wonder what's the name of the author again? Can't remember her name.
I wrote about her in my book,
But you when you watch Harry Potter, I mean, it's not something that I glorify or something, but when you see how the movie starts, J.K. Rowling, yes. You just can't believe the imagination of these people and how they put these characters together. Clearly you realize that the authors and the producers of these movies, they are well read, or their imagination is just out of this world.
They are creative writers.
Definitely.
Yes.
So, as I was saying, the educational reason is also a very good reason to write. Right? Alright, so which other one we have?
For profit.
Oh, well.
Make some money.
So we want to write and make some money, right?
Like we all do, whether we're creative writers, expressive writers, storytellers, or writing for educational purposes. Most authors, they don't write because they want to make money, but
they want your book sell.
You want your book sell.
Straight up.
There is it brings a certain kind of feeling that you get from nothing else when you check your Amazon account and you see that you have sold 30 books in a day, 100 books in a day, like Kevin, John Star.
Yep.
Trupid, one of our newest authors. Right there. Kevin, I think the most book he sold in a day was 91 books.
About 91 in one day.
Sold in one
on Amazon.
Single day.
I'm not talking about ebook, we're talking about
the physical copy of the book, which is now here in Jamaica, by the way. So. It's here. It's here live and direct. Yeah, so you have we all want to be able to make something, but it's not always the main motivator for the creative, expressive, or educational or storytelling writer. But there are persons who really write because they want to make some money from their books. There is For the past couple of years, Amazon, for example, has been allowing what we call no content book or low content books. These are often like
Diaries,
journals.
journals.
Yes, this is one of my journals, so I won't show you what is in there, but they often look something like this, you know.
They won't show us what is in there.
Yeah, they often look something like this. It's lined journals with little quotes here and there. This is what you would call a low content book. There is content in it. It's not just the lined pages, like some authors only make no content book where it's lined and you can do whatever you want to do. You can take notes, you can journal, you can whatever it is, you can write your own book in the book, and those are no content books. This is a low content book, a low content journal, or a low content book which is written in the form of a journal, and people sell these books and they make loads of money.
For low content. Can you imagine I write a book with
140,000
40,000 words?
Yes.
And I'm gonna sell a low content
with
book.
no words at
No
all.
words at all.
None at all in there.
Yeah.
And they're selling it and they're making money. And
Donkey said the world on level.
and that is the motivation for some authors to just make money. And the low content or no content book, it's still necessary, because if somebody never decides that they want to write a book, I can't really understand what is there, but I know it says something about I don't know what upon the book cover.
The book cover is terrible. Believe me, take it from me.
It's not terrible. I love this kind of.
You don't even know the
font.
word. I couldn't tell the name of the
I
book.
love the kind of font, and I love the ability to be able to write in the book.
Live
and
is.
It's not live, is.
That's what I'm saying. The first time I look at the book, I thought live is.
Life is.
That's not a F.
Oh yes, it says life is a great story.
Is that a F?
Yes, it is.
It's
Yes,
one of the worst covers I've ever seen.
So ignore the word for now. Life is a great story, and I agree. You know why I bought this journal? Because of O.Y.R Books and Publishing, and because we're so big on telling stories. The writer, the creator of this journal, did not intend to tell their story in this low content book. What they wanted to do was to allow you as a writer to be able to tell your story in their journal. Because sometimes our journals become our books. Sometimes a journal can become a bestseller. You can turn a real story in a story of fiction. You know, you can nobody not gonna know it's a real story. Turn your entire life, which is a true story, into a fiction. Change the name of the characters, the place. You live in Jamaica, make yourself live in Japan, and assimilate. Bring the readers to Japan with you and tell your story in the form of a fiction book. This person just created enough lines, enough pages to allow a writer, a journaling writer, to journal their thoughts. And sometimes those journaling thoughts can become your story. Right? And this person is selling. Low content books sell, and they sell for lower they sell at a lower cost than books, for example, than mine. We have whole heap of story, me I write the book here for about 2 years before I finally finish the book. So I couldn't just sell it for $2.
The story of that book.
Yeah, you know, so you have to put a value to your story. Yes, you have to do that. And some people don't. They put a value to no story in the form of a low content book or a no content book, and they give you a storyteller the opportunity to tell your story. And the main aim for them putting this book together is to make a profit. And that's what a lot of writers do when they write their low content books or their no content books. They want to make some money, and they want to make it quick and fast, but they don't want to spend the time that it would take to write one book like this. The book here, you are right, the youth leader in you. See how it's thick?
Because I had a lot to say.
Yes, and he had a lot to teach.
Yes.
Right? So authors write for many reasons, and money is always a big motivation for a lot of persons, and for some authors money is their motivation, and we cannot crucify authors.
Nothing is wrong with that. You're creating a product.
You're creating a product, and a part of being an entrepreneur is to be able to see a need and to create a solution for the need. And no content writers or low content writers, they are solving a problem with their books and they're making money while they're doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, Nadine Robinson, yes, your true story. You have your story to tell, so make sure you get one of them low content books here and you're writing down that story. Or if you're not good at writing with your hands, you don't have the time, use your phone, use your tablets to get your story in writing and tell your story.
Definitely. So we just looked at writing for a profit, writing for money. Nothing is wrong with that. You have $1 million authors, making a lot of money, and it's working for them. That's another motivation for writing, right? So we have other points.
Yes, one more.
The sixth one is
the right to become a part of a community, to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Definitely. So you can have a group of people writing a devotional, for example. We published a book for the Church of God of Prophecy Youth Ministry in Kingston and St. Andrew. And it was a devotional done by a lot of youth leaders, right?
Yes.
From all over the parish. And they came together, 90 days of devotional, and different writers doing different days, right? So their name is not on it individually. However, the parish, the youth ministry at large, is benefiting from the devotional, and so you can be a part of that. Something bigger than yourself. It could be a blog, it could be something, and you realize that, hey, I'm contributing to this, I'm contributing to that. 3 people might come together and write a book for educational purposes as well. So you have different reasons why people actually write a book, and that is what we wanted to share with you today. We wanted you to understand that you can write a book, it's your story. If you are telling your story, nobody knows if you made a mistake. It's your story.
Yeah.
So it's like you have an original song and you decide to sing it on stage and you made a mistake in the song. You don't need to stop, because how would people know that you actually made a mistake when it is your song? Yeah. I mean, you should have said but you said something else, and the crowd will still make noise for you because they don't know your song. It's your song. Same thing with the book. So when it comes to telling your story, O.Y.R Books and Publishing wants you to understand that everybody has a story to tell. And when you decide to tell that story, we want to tell that story with you. We want to help you to tell that story. We want to edit that story for you. We want to create a book cover that will express what your story is like and what your story is about. We want to build you as an author. But first, we want you to see yourself as an author.
Yeah.
Right? Don't think. You remember those days, somebody said to me, Leroy, I have never had the opportunity to talk to an author in my lifetime, because when we were all growing up, we saw the T.D. Jakes and the John Maxwell and
Joyce
Myers. Those are the Christian authors, but you have other fiction authors like Daniel Steele and
I used to read her books back in the days when I was young.
Daniel Steele and all these other authors, and we were just thinking, just daydreaming that I wonder if I could write a book. And I started to write my book in high school. And Monique started to write hers from she had breast milk in her mouth.
Yeah.
But I started in high school. And I used Microsoft Word on my laptop and put Publisher. I was using Microsoft Publisher, trying to put these things together. And when I started to write the youth leader, no. I started to write the one from high school, which was something about the presence of God. And guess what? I lost the book. You remember floppy disk?
Yeah.
I had the book on a floppy disk and I had it on the laptop or something. Lost it. Couldn't believe. And then I came in contact again with that author side, And I was checking out different ways of doing it. And so I started to write the youth leader, and you And it just so happened that I paused on writing the youth leader in you, and I jumped to Purpose Has No Shame because the ideas were just flowing. I fell in love with purpose. I fell in love with the word purpose. And I just wanted to let the world know that purpose is a big deal. And I finished Purpose Has No Shame. Then when I finished Purpose Has No Shame, I went to finish the youth leader in you. And from that, I finished Facilitator's Guide. And so 5 books today. All right. And I finished book number 6. And it's with the editor now. But I'm just saying, you just never know where you will end up. It's the best opportunity now to start writing. You have Amazon to get your books out there. You have publishers like O.Y.R Books and Publishing who are just waiting for you to call us, to email us, to go on our website and just tell us that you are ready. Because if you are ready to write it, then guess what?
We are
ready to publish it.
And publish it.
You understand? And Monique and the team, they're ready to edit it and to make it better when you get it back. And that's what we don't want to dive into a lot of these topics tonight, because we just wanted to talk to you about you seeing yourself as an author. Look, it is possible. And Monique can testify to that, when she started to write her book during the pandemic. And
it wasn't during the pandemic. I started to write it in 2017 when I was unemployed, but I went back to it during the pandemic last year because
he was
yeah,
on to the book.
Yeah, just finish the thing and done now. Yeah, him really bad me up. I mean, I really take too nice to bad up, but
but look what it created.
For this, I accepted it and I appreciated it, and sometimes it takes someone pushing us before we can get our story out there, before we can finally get the motivation that we need to get writing again, to get typing again, to get dictating again. Because Microsoft now has you have the ability to dictate to your phone or your tablet or your computer. Just have the Microsoft, the most updated one, and you don't have to type nothing, you don't have to write anything, you can just be talking and it is writing down the thing for you. Just make sure you don't talk in a pato, because for
it doesn't know how to interpret pato, alright?
Them need to get up to date and know say Jamaican talk real and it makes sense. But once you're able to get your Microsoft Word going, get your phones going, open it and press the mic icon, yes, and start dictating your book, start telling your story,
Definitely. So guys, I mean, that's how we're looking at it. We know that a lot of persons, we get a lot of phone calls, we get a lot of email to say, look, I am ready to publish my book, I want to find out. Some people say I have the topic, but I don't have the content. I don't know what to say. For those who have, watched this and listened to the different points and categories, I am sure this will kind of help you on how to go forward in writing your book and telling your story. Remember the different things, the different categories. We're just going to go over it one more time, and then we're going to leave you to think about what you want to do. So the first category of writing is, first reason for writing is to express yourself.
Yes.
Right? So you're an expressive person. Good. Get that pen, get that tablet, get whatever you want. The voice note, email it to yourself, get cracking. Start expressing yourself.
Yeah.
All right?
Then you have the creative writer. Start thinking outside of the box. Start thinking about something that you yourself would not expect anyone to even come up with, and get creative and get writing. Then you have those who want to tell their story.
Yep, then you have the tell-it-all people who just have a
powerful story.
It could be an autobiography, right?
Your memoir, your testimonial, whatever it is you
whatever
want.
it is. Yes. You preach a sermon. Well, I don't know if the sermon would be in it, but
you preach based on your experience sometimes,
Exactly.
So who knows?
All right, the next one.
Educational purposes.
Educational purposes. You have something to teach. You have something to train people on how to become better. That's
Write it
your way
down.
of writing it, right?
Yes.
Publish that thing.
Yes, get that textbook down, get that business book out, write those articles, get those done.
All right, somebody say I got 2 and 3 lock.
Yeah, all right. So you have your story to tell and you're creative. I can imagine that book will be excellent, excellent. And I'm looking forward to you sending us the manuscript.
4 is testimony. Yes. 4 is no, 4 is education.
Yeah, 3 is
3 is
testimonial.
testimony.
Yes.
All right, testimonial. But same thing.
Yeah. 5 for profit.
5 for money.
Yeah.
All right. You want to write and make some money? Nothing is wrong with that. You're not sinning. All right. Right. It's business.
Yes.
Right. You have to pay the publisher, by the way. Right. So of course you have to make money. I mean, a part of writing is business. And I say to people, I remember when I finished Purpose Has No Shame, one of my spiritual sons called me and he said, Dad, now that you're finished writing your book, how does it make you feel? How do you feel? And I told him, I said, son, I feel like I overcame myself. My target was to overcome myself. And then I said to him, and then the first person who purchased the book would have been a bonus. And that's just how I felt, right? I just felt like I wanted. I tell people I'm not a detailed person, usually. But when it comes to writing, I will find things to write about. I'll find stories. I'll find examples, I'll find articles, I'll find whatever it takes to get my book in the way that I want it. Right? Your gift make room for you, of course.
Yes.
Definitely.
So that's the Bible says it and the Bible does not lie.
Alright, so write for profit if you want. Make some money. Nothing is wrong with that.
Yes.
Alright?
And you write to be a part of something that is bigger than yourself. To become a part of this author community that many persons never thought they could be a part of. To become a part of a book that is published, when you go in the bookstore, you see your book.
Best feeling.
I have not done that just yet, but I mean, to see somebody with my book in their hand, to get a text to say, I read this part of your book, I'm at this chapter, and that story you did funny. What you do with that person that do that to you in chapter 2, read chapter, or is it chapter 3? Chapter 3, misinformation. Read that chapter, trust me. There's a story in there that you want to hear. It's a good feeling to know that you're a part of something that will last even though you are no longer around. Your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren will be able to see that Leroy Hutchinson wrote this book. He wrote about purpose. He wrote about leadership. I wrote about mistakes and perfection and how that can affect persons, make you better or worse. We write to know that
we read.
We read to know that we're not alone.
But we also write
to know that we're not alone as well. So,
Yes.
That's 6 of the reasons why persons write. So wherever you fall on this list, get writing. Start telling your story. Start writing it down. Start recording it. You don't want it. Our mind is not as reliable as a pen is, right? I always have one pen somewhere.
Yes, so the pen is more powerful than the mind.
So write it down. Don't forget. You can forget your story too, because I've been through some stuff. Sometimes some things are so painful, you want to forget it. But sometimes the pain that you go through will help somebody to go through their pain better than you went through your pain. So for those reasons, you need to write that story. Get writing. You can contact O.Y.R Books and Publishing here on our Facebook page. You can easy cheesy.
Send us a message on Facebook. You can do that.
Yes, you comment on a status, post, whatever. You can reach out to us there. You can also reach out to Leroy or myself on our Facebook pages. Or if you want to stick to O.Y.R Books and Publishing, you can reach out on our website, which is O.Y.R Books and Publishing.com.
Yes.
Or you can email us at oyarbookpublishing@gmail.com.
Yeah, definitely. When you go on the
Or,
website, oh, you're
yes,
not finished?
one more. Or you can reach out to us on our Instagram page at O.Y.R Books, right? O.Y.R Books. None of the full stops there, none of the dots. Just O.Y.R Books.
Definitely. Go on the site, O.Y.R booksandpublishing.com, and at the top of the homepage, you can click Publish with Us. It will take you to a page where you can fill out an application, small application. And when you get there, fill it out, click Submit. We will receive the email. We'll look at what you have in your mind, to know how to serve you better. And we will take it from there. We'll communicate and everything. All right. So that's why we did this live today, and you'll be hearing more from us in the different areas of publishing, writing, how you can phone. Oh yes, 876-313-1413. All right. So that's 876-313-1413. You can Google us as well, O.Y.R Books and Publishing. We are everywhere.
Everywhere.
All right. And of course, I know you saw the Gleaner ad with Kevin, right? So go and get Kevin's book online. Kevin was in the bestseller group, I think, on Amazon. All right. So it's True Pain. And we are looking at Kevin's book launch for the 9th of October. The 9th of October. We're going to be having his book launch in Maypen. And so,
if you're there,
yeah, stop by, pick up a book. We're looking at the Church of God of Prophecy in Maypen. That's where we plan to be on the 9th of October. And so we'll get Kevin's book. Should be in the bookshops soon and very soon. This guy, good guy, I tell you, we decided to publish this book for him. And I know that many people, you've seen the Instagram, the Gleaner video and everything. So we really don't have to go over it. But we just wanted to help Kevin for him to really publish his story and everything. Ready to write my book? All right, Knox. I've been telling you a long time ago, you are itching a brethren. All right? All right, preacher man. So let me know when you are ready. And Monique and the team is ready to edit that book, Knox, and I'm ready to get the thing out. What you want to call it? Story of a preacher man. Right? Whatever it is, we're just happy for you today, guys. You all have a story, and you all have something to share and something to tell. So, on behalf of O.Y.R Books and Publishing team, we say thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for being here with us. Share the page, like the page on Instagram. Just continue to support the team. We have been doing a very good job, and we consider ourselves to be God-sent. And we're reasonable. When it comes to pricing, call us. Believe me, we're reasonable. I think we are
the most reasonable business in Jamaica right now.
Definitely. Check it out for yourself. Look, compare us to other publishing businesses. Compare us. I'll tell you, we came into this business because we want to help people to publish their books at reasonable cost, right? So when I say everything free, like Kevin, we saw him and we prayed and we said, God, we want to help the youth, and everything. And his book is doing very well. But we can't do that with everybody, you understand? We can't do that with everybody because it's really a business. But it's a business that I believe will bless you and at the same time help you to empower others at a reasonable cost.
1 second. Grace Daniels, if you have a completed manuscript, you can just go. You mean completed or incomplete? Incomplete, rather. If it's incomplete, we can help you to finish your story. We do ghost writing as well.
So if you have the idea of writing a book and you want us to help you, you don't have a laptop, you can't type, we offer all those services, right?
Yes.
So we offer consultation. Right, so our consultation, of course, is only $30 US. And when we talk about consultation, we're talking about helping you to come up with the story, the topic, everything. We spend
pulling the story,
pulling it from you, right?
And giving you guidelines and instructions as to how to start, finish, and send us the manuscript, basically. If
you have not written anything, call us still. We have the team to help you to produce that book from scratch, book cover, content, everything. Just call us, email us, share it on Facebook, as in message us on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever, and we will help you to get that book out there. We're serious about helping people to tell their story. You have sermons, you have journals, whatever you want to do. We're definitely here to help you. And we help you to promote your book on our site, on our social media platforms and everything, just to help you to become the author that you want to become.
And if you have the completed manuscript, Grace, just go on our website and select the option to publish with us, complete the form, and it will come to us, and we will reach out to you once the information gets to us, and we can get going with it. All right.
So yes, consultation for 30 US. Cheap.
Yes, and Nadine, I like your title. Make sure you don't tell nobody before you write it, before you're done, right? And before you copyright it and protect it, right?
Yes.
Keep it near to the chest. Keep it close to the heart until it is copyrighted.
All right. So we promise that we won't be long, and we are going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So O.Y.R Books and Publishing. My name is Leroy Hutchinson, as you know, CEO.
And mine is Anne Monique Bailey Hutchinson, CPO.
All right. God bless you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Share it, like it, view it, tell somebody about it, and most of all, tell your story. Bless up.